Hello everyone, myself Ashrita. Today I am presenting a video assignment on maths. Introduction to the student's redistribution. The student's redistribution is a crucial statistic concept that desires the distribution of a random variable with the population standard deviation is unknown. This probability distribution is widely used in hypothesis testing, confidence interval estimation, and other statistic analysis, particularly when dealing with small sample sizes. Understanding the characteristics and application. The t-distribution is essential for researchers, data analytics, and anyone working with inference. Understanding the probability distribution. Probability distribution. Probability distributions are mathematical functions that describe probability distribution are mathematical functions that describe the likelihood or differences outcomes in a random experiment or process. They are fundamental to statistical analytics and decision making. Normal distribution. The normal distribution, also known as the Gaussian distribution, is a widely used and well understood probability distribution that is symmetric, well shaped and characterized by its mean and standard deviation. Limits of normal distribution. While the normal distribution is a powerful tool, it may always be represent the distribution of variable, especially when dealing with the sample sizes or non-normal data. Characteristic of redistribution. Shape. The t-distribution is similar to the normal distribution but has a heavier tails, meaning it is more likely to produce extreme values. The shape of t-distribution is determined by the degree of freedom. Spread. The distribution of t-distribution is measured by its standard deviation. It is greater than the normal distribution, especially for the smaller sample sizes. This reflects the increased uncertainty when the population standard deviation is non-symmetric. Like the normal distribution, the t-distribution is symmetric about its mean, which is always zero. The symmetric allows for the two use of tail hypothesis test. Relationship to the normal distribution has degrees of freedom, it is the t-distribution increases. The distribution approaches the standard normal distribution. This relationship is important for understanding the theoretical foundation and practical application of t-distribution. The t-distribution, which is the ratio of the sample mean to the deviation standard error of the mean, follows a t-distribution when the population standard deviation is known. This allows the hypothesis testing and confidence interval estimation. Small sample sizes. The t-distribution is particularly useful when working with small sample sizes where the small normal approximation may not be appreciated. This provides a more accurate representation of the sample distribution in these cases. Application of t-distribution. Hypothesis testing. The t-distribution is widely used in hypothesis testing, such as testing the significance of a sample mean, the difference between two means, or a slope of registration lines. Confidence level estimation. The t-distribution is a basis of constructing confidence intervals for population parameters such as mean, proportions, or variations. When the population standard deviation is unknown. Small sample interference. The t-distribution is particularly useful for making interference population when the sample size is small, as it provides a multitasking representation of sampling distribution compared with the other t-distribution. Hypothesis testing with t-statistics. Calculating t-statistics. T-statistics is calculated as the ratio of sample mean to standard error of the mean, which allows the hypothesis testing about the population parameters. Hypothesis testing. The t-statistics is compared to a crucial value from the t-distribution based on the chosen significant level and degrees of freedom to determine whether they reject or fail to reject null hypothesis. P-value. The p-value, which represents the high probability of observation, a test statistics has left least as extreme one calculated is used to access the statistic significance of the result. Interpretation. The interpretation of t Test results, including directions and magnitude of the effect, is crucial for drawing meaningful conclusions and from the analytics. Confidence intervals and T levels. Confidence intervals. A T distribution is used to construct a confidence level intervals population parameters such as mean, proportion, or variance. When the population standard deviation is unknown, the confidence level and degrees of freedom determine the appropriate t-value to use. T-values. The t-value, which is crucial value from the t-distribution corresponding to the chosen significant level and degrees of freedom, is used to determine the boundaries of confidence level. This allows for the quantification of the uncertainty around the parameters estimate. Interpretation. Interpretation confidence level intervals include the width and implements for the population parameters. It is crucial for understanding the precipitation and uncertainty. Degree of freedom and the t-distribution. Definition. Degrees of freedom refers to the number of values in statistics calculation that are free to vary. In the case of t-distribution, the definition of determined of sample size minus the number of parameters being estimated. Influence on the shape. The degree of freedom have a definite impact on the shape of the t-distribution. As the difference increases, the t-distribution approaches the standard normal distribution, with the tails becoming less pronounced. Practical implementations. The choice of definition is crucial. Determine the appropriate crucial values of hypothesis. Testing the confidence interval estimation using a t-distribution. So smaller the sizes results in a lower definition of wider t-distribution tails. Limitations and assumption of t-distribution. Assumption of a normal. A t-distribution assumes that the underlying population follows the population for the normal distribution. Violations of this assumption may affect the validity of statistical inference made by the using t-distribution. Sample size consideration. While the t-distribution is particularly used for small sample sizes, it is important to ensure the sample size is large enough to provide the reliable estimates of the population parameters. Independence of observation. The t-distribution assumes that the observation in the sample are independent to each other. Violations of this assumption may lead to biased standard errors and invalid static conversations. So let's conclude with this other.